was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseilles. I traced Kondor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. A chain-link fence barred the entrance to the docks.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, he's a trained attack dog. A killer.
It was a mean-looking guard dog.
Here, boy.
The watchman was big and bulgy, like a sack of potatoes. His flushed and bloated face wore a sleepy, amiable expression. The spike held a stack of papers which appeared to be shipping documents. None of them referred to Kondor Transglobal. It was a box of blank forms. Something was bubbling in the watchman's saucepan. A shabby old overcoat hung from a peg near the door. It was a packet with a picture of a boxer dog on the front. It was an old iron stove, which heated the hut and the watchman's dinner. It was a filthy, stained coffee mug.
Hi there.
Hey, how long you been watching me?
I wasn't watching.
You were looking.
Oh, well, yeah, but I wasn't watching.
What'd you want? Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the floor. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of the national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say.
What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
Does number 20 have rabies?
Nah, just a bad attitude. Like I said, He's a trained attack dog. They took him when he was a puppy and messed with his head to make him the way he is.
Ever heard of Kondor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I have to make a delivery to Kondor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
Nah, it was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. Do you know what kind of business Kondor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her the docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah. Struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
A poison dart, huh?
I could tell he didn't believe me. This is the dart that the Indian shot at my girlfriend.
Sheesh! That's pretty weird, but I don't see why you'd expect to find her here.
I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
Have you ever heard of Professor Ubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you? You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. Take a look at this letter.
That's sick. Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice. I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
A short stick of wood floated near the edge of the landing stage. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook for hooking boats. It was a short wooden-handled boat hook. I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, "Surge, the beer that clears your head."
Excuse me.
Huh? Who's there?
Ouch! That's hot.
Oh no, I'd learned my lesson. The chimney was a metal pipe with a conical hat on top to stop the rain getting in. The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. The chimney was a metal pipe which disappeared into the wall. On top of the pipe rested a cone. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. The chimney was a That chimney looked very exposed without its cone. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke. The box contained nothing but blank forms.
Is something wrong?
Something wrong? I nearly choked to death.
Why don't you get some air? Take a long walk along the pier. I could stay here and watch the gate.
Oh, no. You'd be through that gate as soon as my back was turned.
With that crazy dog around? Someday I hope to have kids.
The packet was full of dog biscuits. That mug was a health risk. I decided to leave it where it was. It was a large bucket filled with coal. Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition?
Yow!
Stove equals heat, heat equals burn, burn equals excruciating pain. Baked beans in ketchup.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Get the hell out of here.
Okay. Just hold on to that dog. Hey, 20.
It was the box of biscuits I'd taken from the watchman's hut. Gourmet dog. The snack your dog would bake himself. Sure, as if I'd let a stupid dog loose in the kitchen. There was a cute picture of a boxer dog wearing oven mittens. It was my lucky piece of coal. Without a way of firing the dart, I would never have been able to propel it fast enough to puncture the mutt's hide.
Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy.
I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog. The gates were fastened with a heavy-duty padlock. Breaking steel padlocks with my bare hands was a feat I'd never mastered. The doors looked 100 years old, but they were still very sturdy. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles. It read Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. I didn't recognize the label. The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, I didn't really want it as a souvenir. The clamp was held in a mechanism which forced its jaws open. I decided not to tamper with the clamp. Those jaws looked like they could snap shut at any moment. It was a beautiful piece of 19th century engineering, but not a lot of use to me. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. The doors looked 100 years. It read Kondor Transglobal. I'd come to the right place. Now all I had to do was get inside. There was a little grill set into the door. That door seemed to be the only way into the warehouse. The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. The grill opened from the inside. The ladder led up to a walkway which stretched the length of the building. Maybe there was a way in up there. It was a duct from a ventilation fan. The metal housing prevented me from getting to the fan. The window was jammed shut. The window wasn't fully shut. It was the creep who'd kidnapped Nico, and I had a score to settle. The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates. I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan. It was a powerful fan. I couldn't reach the blades of the fan, which was just as well. If I'd stuck my fingers in there, I'd never be able to play guitar again. That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss. I decided there was a better way to attract their attention.
Who is it?
Pizza delivery?
I didn't order pizza.
No? This is the Kondor Transglobal shipping company, isn't it?
I don't like pizza.
Oh, come on. Everyone likes pizza.
Maybe he was allergic to mozzarella.
Hey,
What now?
look. This pizza's been paid for. You might as well take it.
I told you, I don't like pizza.
Not even with extra olives?
I hate them. Olives are the devil's butt nuggets.
If you know what's good for you, you'll open this door.
What if I don't?
I'll kick your head in.
Okay, I'll come out, you creep.
Filing cabinet. It was locked. There was a notice board beside the desk with an assortment of paperwork on it. Among the paperwork which adorned the notice board was something which caught my eye. It was a delivery note from Kondor Transglobal, and the address was Coromante City. There was a small drawer in the desk. Knowing my luck, it was bound to be locked. The only interesting thing I found was a small brass key. It was a small brass key. There was nothing else of any interest on the notice board.
Whoa! Don't shoot!
The little guy had a blowpipe. That confirmed my suspicions about what had happened to Nico. I waited for him to shoot me, but it didn't happen. Instead, he seemed to want to tell me something.
What? What do you want?
He seemed excited, almost desperate. What did he want so bad? The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates. Hi, I'm not going to hurt you.
Quaramonte!
Is that where you're from? Caramonte City?
Quaramonte! Quaramonte!
Okay, okay.
Tell me what you've done with Nico, and I'll share these biscuits with you.
I knew it sounded lame, trying to bargain with a box of doggy snacks. Besides, how was he to know how yummy they tasted?
What does this key unlock?
Huh?
Hey, you're manacled. Who did this? That big thug? I'm gonna set you free, okay? Hey, come back here!
The little guy had gone to ground amongst the stack of crates. It was the button to call the elevator. Just in time. Interrupting the beam of light kept the doors from closing and stopped anyone from using the elevator. But what now? It was a device to prevent the elevator doors closing when they were obstructed. Holding my hand in front of the eye would stop the doors from closing, but I couldn't stay like that forever. The crate bore the familiar logo of Kondor Transglobal, but no clues to its contents. There. That would keep the doors from closing. The crate was labeled, "Danger. Live contents. Do not drop." There were small holes in the top and sides, and scratchy noises coming from inside. But decided not to risk dropping it and meeting the live contents. It was a large crate with no label. An unmarked switch. Tempting. I noticed a faint mark on the wooden floor. There was an arc-shaped scratch on the floor, as if a door had been opened in the nearby wall. My fingers traced the outline of a secret door in the wall. Then I found a small round stud, which was set flush to the surrounding wooden paneling. Just as I'd hoped, a secret room. Nico! It was a grotesque little statue of a figure carrying a shield and a spear. Will you look at this? It was a small statue of a kneeling figure in an ornate headdress. The head was hideous, with huge staring eyes set in a decomposing face.
Hey, somebody's marketing Labano dolls.
It was a flint carving of a grotesque figure with large, evil eyes. Hold still. This might hurt a little.
Ow!
Think yourself lucky you don't have a mustache.
About time. You could at least have helped me before grabbing everything you could find.
Not so loud. They'll hear you.
Get these ropes off me right now.
You know, the mood you're in, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Where's Pablo, the big guy?
Out cold. Too much wine doesn't agree with him. Are you okay?
Of course I'm not okay. Untie me this instant.
That look in her eyes told me I'd better get those ropes untied, and fast. It was a short length of rope tied tightly around Nico's slim wrists. What?
Get me out of this chair.
There. How are you feeling?
Oh, thanks, George. How on earth did you find me?
I knew Oubier had been in Marseilles. But never mind about me. How about you tell me exactly what's going on, starting with that Mayan stone?
I picked it up from one of Karzak's men in Paris. I was expecting a consignment of narcotics.
Drugs?
Yes. The proof I needed to expose Karzak's smuggling operation. I'd set it up to act as his courier, and once I had the proof, I planned to go straight to Inspector Mou. But instead of the dope I'd expected, they sent me that stone instead. And to find out more, I called Professor Oubier, who invited me to his mansion. At least, I thought it was Oubier.
I don't get it. If Karzak's business is drugs, why is he so desperate to get his hands on that stone?
Maybe it has some significance to the local people in Central America. It could be Karzak's means of getting them to work for him. Anyway, we've got to get out of here.
Nico, wait! It was the rope the Indian had used to tie Nico to a chair. Boy, what a souvenir. We can't use the elevator. If that thug Pablo's recovered, he'll be waiting for us.
We've got to do something. Where does that door lead to?
I'm not sure. I realized the doors must lead to a loading platform high above the dockside. A sturdy beam was jammed across the doors. These doors were not going to open. Nico looked well considering her ordeal. Okay, tell me what you know about Kondor.
Kondor Transglobal exports Aztec and Mayan relics from Central America to Europe. But that's just a cover for the real business. Drug smuggling.
What proof do you have?
Nothing yet.
Do you know where Kondor is based?
In Central America. A place called Quaramonte.
I saw that name on a docket downstairs. Tell me about this Karzak guy.
Well, I saw him for only a few minutes, but he frightens me. I got the impression that Pablo was nervous when he was around too. His eyes, they're like a wild animal's, like a tiger. That's what scared me most about him. He looked so unpredictable and dangerous.
Did you know Oubier's wife was a film star?
No, I didn't know he was married. What happened to her?
She died. In mysterious circumstances, apparently.
How mysterious?
I heard she was murdered. Possibly by Oubier himself.
A murderer, huh? André said he was something of a celebrity.
Did I hear you refer to Inspector Mou?
Yes, you remember him?
Well, of course I do. But I thought he was dead.
Oh no, he reappeared after the broken sword case had blown over. When he found out who was in with the Neo-Templars, he went into hiding. Mou knew more than was good for him.
Does he know about our involvement with the case?
If he does, he's not telling. Still, he got a sudden promotion.
Did that Indian guy mistreat you?
If you forget about the abduction, verbal threats, and bondage, no.
Well, what about the little guy?
I don't think he knows where he is or what he's doing here. The big guy, Pablo, he brought Titipoco from the jungle.
Did he what?
Titipoco. That's what I heard Pablo call the dwarf.
Do you recognize this?
Is that the dart which knocked me out?
That's right. I kept it as a souvenir. Have you any idea who this little statue is supposed to be?
I'm not very well acquainted with Mayan deities, George. But whatever his name, he sure is ugly.
I found these in your bag.
Oh, they were a gift.
I know. I read the note.
God knows what was going through Andre's mind.
I think that's quite plain enough. Look, the little guy downstairs was chained up with these.
That must have been Pablo's doing. I don't blame him, though. That little guy is dangerous.
You're still sore about that poison dart?
Of course I'm sore.
There was nothing else I wanted to talk to Nico about at that time. The statue looked way too heavy for me to move. The statue looked as if it was a pulley attached to a long rail which ran the length of the building. It wasn't much use, though. No rope. The statue looked as if it was Central or South American in origin. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. It would be much easier to attach the rope to the statue first. The rope was attached around the neck of the statue. The rope wasn't long enough to reach the pulley. The short chain stopped the cuffs reaching from the statue to the winch. There was nothing. It was the strip of masking tape which the big Indian had used to gag Nico. No. No. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. The rope wasn't long enough to reach the pulley. Hopefully, the tape would prevent those doors from closing and stop the Indian from being able to call the elevator. The pallet rose about 6 inches off the floor, and I said a silent prayer to whoever had discovered the power of hydraulics.
What on earth are you doing?
Trying to raise the statue so I can hook it to that pulley.
Is that really going to help us?
I like to keep myself occupied in times of stress. I didn't want to remove the rope from the pulley. It was too heavy for me to move on my own. Could you give me a hand to push this statue?
What for?
This, my dear, is our passport to freedom.
If you say so, dear.
Okay, push! Great teamwork.
Nice to be working with you again, Mr. Stobbart.
I thought about hanging from the cable with my bare hands, but it was too far to the other end of the cable to escape that way. Nico, I have a great idea.